Hello, Internet. So, two things before we begin. This isn't going to be the cleanest video because obviously I'm just trying to, do it right now and record it. And secondly, sorry that my hair is wet. I decided to take a walk to kind of compartmentalize my thoughts on this video before I did it, and it just started raining, so my bad. But with the whole situation going on right now and the copyright strike that is inevitably incoming as per the Google employee that I talked to, false by the way, I thought I'd just make this video as kind of an homage to the channel because, it could be deleted. Like there's a legitimate chance that, if one goes through, then two more could easily go through because of the videos that I've made. But anyway, I may have spoken about this in the past, but I used to drive for Amazon and do Uber Eats after that, and that's a story for another time. But I essentially started my channel 2 years ago, and I kind of started as like a passion project because I got really into the commentary community around the time that iDubbbz, Leafy, Keemstar, you know the bunch, H3H3, like all these creators were blowing up for essentially just, giving their thoughts and opinions and criticizing people on YouTube. And I thought, hey, I mean, if they can do it, I can probably do it. And if you look through my earlier videos, you can see that I leaned really heavy. Sorry, I need a drink of water. I've leaned very heavily into, the more satirical elements because that's something I always pretty much highly valued all my life was like comedy, entertainment, those sorts of jobs. And I was like, hey, if I can, try to fit time in to do this part-time, maybe my channel goes somewhere. And, it's just been a crazy journey. I'm almost at 40,000 subscribers. And I remember making my first 100 subscriber video, and I was really excited when my videos were getting, 200 and 300 views, and now it seems that every day I'm kind of breaking a new barrier. So that is just absolutely incredible. Like, I cannot thank you guys enough, and it is unfortunate that, it's only really been these past 3 months that I've actually started to see any type of revenue that could sustain me. And in fact, now this month, I'm just going to be completely transparent. I am getting around 4.5 thousand just, from the controversies that have been happening. And that's just absolutely amazing. Like I went from, okay, I'm going to be happy if I make like $500 because, that's not an insignificant amount of money to me. And it certainly wasn't at that time. I appreciate every dollar. And I've had some things, I've made some bad decisions in the past that kind of set me back. So I was really looking for, this one opportunity. Just give me a chance to try to actually put all my effort into something to actually try to make it succeed. And it turns out that the YouTube channel happened to be that thing. And I cannot thank you guys enough, obviously, for all of the support that you guys have given me over the past 2 years, right? Like, I still see a lot of members from the few hundreds that have just stuck around. And like I said, it's just incredible. But one of the things I really valued about the commentary channels was their, I guess, ability to push boundaries in terms of entertainment and, standing on principles, and that principle mainly being freedom, which is what I wanted to talk about, because I feel like a lot of people don't really, they take freedom for granted, and especially in America, which is really weird. Like, there's people in the world, I'm not going to name the parts of the world, but you know exactly what I'm going to be talking about. But there's literally places in the world where, women can't even read. Like, they're forbidden to read. And with all, I think the world is a really cruel place, and I am extremely lucky to be here in America, which is why I'm very patriotic. And, despite its flaws, I still stand with this country and the values that got us to this point. And I think freedom of speech and the freedom to criticize is one of those freedoms that I hold above pretty much everything. And that kind of segues into a little bit deeper of why I made the channel. If you don't know, the channel was originally named Reddit is Trash because I was banned, and I realized that, the censorship on Reddit had just gotten way too crazy, and the amount of propaganda that I saw and just so many problems with it. I think we all know. I mean, just look at my entire channel history. But, there was really a time where we didn't purity test each other all the time. And, iDubbbz could make funny jokes that were definitely offensive to a lot of people. But, we all understood that, he wasn't a hateful or racist or whatever you want to call him type of guy. And I feel the exact same way. I feel like anyone can make a joke, and, the longer, obviously, you have their internet history, the easier it is to tell what their beliefs are. And I think I do a really good job at demonstrating on this channel that I'm pretty principled. I try to look at situations, I be as honest as possible about them, and I get a lot of stuff wrong, and I try to do my best though. And you guys obviously call me out in the comments all the time, which is honestly great. It's just more information, more stuff to add to the conversation that originally wasn't there, because so much happens all the time that it's kind of hard to keep track of all these things. But I think you understand what I'm saying. Like, people are more complicated than we think. Jokes can be esoteric, which means it's not always clear, the irony, the layers of irony or whatever. But I think I've demonstrated pretty well that I really want the best for everyone, and I want them to have the same freedoms that I do and the same freedoms that I value. And the longer I've been on the internet, the more I realize that things are kind of changing. And I think a lot of people have realized that, where, censorship is now becoming kind of a norm, right? And my last, I just had a video deleted where I tried to guess whether the people that I show are women or not, and I feel like in 2016, I definitely probably could have gotten away with it, but even YouTube didn't like that joke very much. And I said one word, and I bet you guys know what it is. And I didn't even say it in a derogatory manner. I just said it as, a joke at the beginning of the stream. Because, it's really weird how people apply words, because if you're a part of a group, obviously you get preferential treatment for how the words that you can use, even if, you're obviously not racist or you haven't demonstrated any other tendencies that would suggest that you're racist other than you literally saying a word. Like, I don't think we should be giving words this much power. And yeah, it's kind of a core tenet of libertarianism that I like I said, I hold at the utmost. There's a reason why the First Amendment is the First Amendment. And I completely understand that YouTube has, its policy guidelines or whatever, but the enforcement of those has to be equal. Like, the stuff that we see, Hassan and a lot of the people in these communities now who have basically just completely gone off the deep end, saying heinous fucking shit. These people get to be millionaires, and then people like me who have an entire history of being nothing but charitable to people, or trying to, understand, or at the very least, I just, make fun of them and criticize them. I don't criticize their characteristics or whatever. I'm really just criticizing what they're saying, because that's obviously all we have to go off of. And I used to do this in the past, which I'll admit to. If someone says something really fucking crazy, I'll just go on their profile to see if they posted a picture of themselves, obviously publicly. And I'm just like, I see, But it's just a joke, right? Anyone can have any type of crazy opinion. It doesn't matter what you look like, because obviously Hassan is right. He's not a bad looking dude, but he says just the most horrible shit ever, and people just give him a pass because he's got, I don't even know. Like, I guess he's got charisma in that way. I mean, I don't watch him. But, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you can make fun of my appearance. Obviously, I put myself online. I'm not going to try to take your video down for defamation. You can criticize whatever I say. I've always been completely principled on this. But as you know, a lot of people aren't. And they take things I feel a little too personally. I mean, it's the internet, right? Outside of like threatening or doxing or doing any crazy stuff that might harm a person in real life, I feel like it should be all fair game, right? And this is where my primary concerns are because let's say that the copyright strike goes through, I appeal it, it doesn't, it gets rejected essentially. I am going to sue. That is going to be my plan. And after that, I'm probably not going to talk too much about it just because there's a lot of legal stuff that I'll have to get through. And unfortunately, I'm probably going to have to ask for some sort of crowdfunding as like just a plea for help because I obviously am not fully prepared to deal with the amount of money a legal or a lawyer would cost to deal with a situation that's just so dumb. And obviously, in the end, if I do win it all and I get all the money back or whatever damages, there's no way that I could actually do what I would really want to do, which is repay you all. And I don't know how to deal with that. And it kind of, it messes me up morally because, it obviously isn't my money and it's all in the charity of you guys. And I know that I'm sure you guys would appreciate that the channel would still be alive and up, but at the same time, something wouldn't sit right with me. I'd probably end up using all the money for channel projects or something because I don't really live a crazy lifestyle or anything, even if I made $10 or $1 million tomorrow, I'd probably still be living here as long as I can, helping my mom. And I guess investing, what else is there to do? But live comfortably and make videos because at the end of the day, I was working and making videos. It was very, very tiring. I put a lot of effort into this channel, a lot of sleepless nights trying to make skits, trying to think of, fun ideas, fun things to do for the channel. And to watch it all just go down the drain would be absolutely horrible. It would be very, I almost want to say like traumatizing to say because I've worked 2 years and I look back on my videos and I'm like, wow, I've really come a long way and this is something I'm proud of, and I'm proud that I can get my voice out there. And even if people disagree with me, I try to consider their opinions, listen to everyone. And yeah, but I think that's pretty much it. I just want to share my thoughts, unmitigated, I guess. And I'm going to be trying to make another video right now, right after this one. That's just regular content to try to keep in high spirits because there's a possibility I may receive no money next month. I would have to look into how copyright strikes work if they go through, but, that would be really devastating. I definitely could live off of the money I get this month since it was such an incredible amount. But, I want to stop having to pay the interest on the last card that I have. But, that's all my personal problems. Don't worry about that. I still am going to use the stream money for like channel projects, probably with the cats or whatever. But anyway, I'm just going to leave it on that and say that thank you so much for all your support. Like and share this video. It's kind of, out of the blue, and I don't mean to sound down, but this is really stressful for me. This is like, I want to ride this as long as I can. I want to keep making videos. It's what I like doing best. I like fighting against the censorship on Reddit, and yeah, that's pretty much it. That's why I created the channel, and hopefully to see Reddit change at some point or just completely go down like it should because it's mainly bots anyway. But anyway, peace out, guys. I will see you soon.